And we're live. Good evening, one and all. Hope you're all having a good day today. It's hot here, as it was, although it's less bad than it was on Sunday. On Sunday, it was kind of melted by the end of it. Hopefully, I won't melt by the end of this. Now, the title is a rhetorical question because, of course, Orlocks can be blonde. The real title should be, Can I paint them blonde? And that's a different question. And that's what we're going to find out today. Oh, turn down my own volume so you don't have to hear me twice. So I've still got this Orlock lady that I've been working on. She's pretty much ready to go. The only thing we need to do now is the metallics. Well, the one little hand spot I just noticed. Oops, yuck, that paint didn't last on the palette. Well, it's because I gooped it up too much. That's okay. Let's get that in there. Just get right into it. Okay, there we go. So now, normally I would do the gun before doing metallics, but I need to do the metallics, at least some metallics first, because her arm is in there, and I want to paint that arm before I paint the gun. Otherwise I'm going to be fighting with it. So, but honestly, her hair is kind of what I'm more worried about. So I'm putting down this brown first. So this very orangish brown. It's actually ochre, sunburst ochre from Army Painter. I'm putting this down first because I'm going to try painting blonde hair on her, but you need a brownish base because, you know, if you've ever looked at somebody with brown hair. Get down to there. The hair could use some yellows. Yeah, it's only just started. It's not even trying to look blonde yet. This is the undercoat for the blonde that I'm going to try. I probably should do the goggles before I do any of that, actually. Which is where we left off on Sunday. I kind of forgot, so I need to get my white out again. But first, let me get this base brownish down. Because, yeah, the hair looks absolutely nothing blonde yet. Also, hello, Didmussy. Good to see you. I very much thinned this paint, which is great, but it's not a... I also need to decide what color I want to do the bow that's tying our pair together. Let's get the white out so I can do her goggles real quick. Just like last time, we're going to start with the lenses. And just like last time, we're going to use our finest brush. We'll do the lenses white first, and then we'll... These are a little harder because, let me see. Well, yeah, one of them's completely covered up by the hair. So there's one lens. I don't think you could even see the other one under there. You're right, the heavy bolter might be out of the ammo, so you need to go back up. Says the Magic Work Stuff Gun. Well, clearly she has a fighting knife. I'm gonna stab you. Close with her because you think heavy bolter weak at close range, and then she stabs you. All right. Well, I'm gonna get my dry palette out. And dry palette is a very fancy name for a piece of paper. What metallics? What metal do I want to use? All right. Well, it's a terrible. My brain is self-sabotaging because my brain goes, oh, well, why don't you just use up some lead belcher? And it's like, lead belcher's awful. Why would I want to use that? And the answer is, I don't. Now, where did I put my... For 15 credits? You're throwing money away. Am I? So she's probably not going to have a fighting knife on her profile. I think the only thing she's going to start with is the heavy bolter. If I do choose to actually bring her at the gang start, I don't really know for certain. There's still a part of me that does kind of want to try a Spryer, like an actual Secundian Incursion gang. I don't know. I really go back and forth on that. All right, I've got some P3 cold steel here. So let's get this under there. Oops. Wow, that was a disaster. That's okay. That'll get re-black that later. That's not black, that's brown. Yep. Well, I watered this down, but maybe I didn't water it down enough. I did think about doing the heavy bolter itself in red, like this big, huge red heavy bolter, but I kind of figured that would be not really what I want. Here we go. This is bringing her metal arm into some nice definition. This is even before wash or any kind of highlighting. Yeah, I probably should have done this, honestly, first, but Sorry, checking something real quick. Okay, that's without the metal in it. Good. All right. So, gotta keep your metal and non-metallic water separate, or you'll put metal flakes and everything. There we go. Now her steel arm is very steel. That's what we want. This is a nice bright steel, because the wash will deaden it down. Good evening. Is it just me today? It is just me today. Also, hello, Spudgy. Yes, it is me today. Everyone else is busy with family stuff or other stuff they've got to do, so you stuck with me, Saz. Sawi. I was gonna paint that one. Needs to be black, and then it transitions to metal here. You're quite quiet. Oh, sorry. How about now? Am I better now? Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. I like the long ponytail. Where's it from? This is not a kit bash. This is one of the resin Orlock champions and gangers. It's a Forge World kit, I guess, and now now it's just called an expert kit. That comes with 3 Orlock ladies. It's got it's got her, and it's got her in it. And they're just really nice sculpts, so I bought them, and I'm looking for an excuse to use them in the gang. So that's why this gang is going to start with a heavy bolter, even if it's not necessarily the best advised idea. I might normally wait to upgrade to heavy bolter. It's like seeing a gal long hair, but not in a, like a sexual way. Yeah, I mean, no offense to Escher, because it is like their shtick, but it's like to see just like a normal human being with long hair. Now what I should do is get a couple of different metallics on there for some variety, and I might come back and do that, add some bronzes and stuff to the piston, but I am trying to paint these just to get them on the table right now, so I'm not going to right now. You can always come back and do that later, and I very likely will. Honestly, except maybe Escher has some non-great weird goggles. Yep, and Escher, like, it does really, like, Escher is super leaning into that, like, punk 90s, 80s, late 80s, early 90s aesthetic. So even they kind of get a pass for it. Kind of. Emphasis on kind of. Alright, so this one, what I wanted to do here was just... I don't even know if you guys can see this on camera. What I want to do here is just, like... This is basically the same material, like, on their, Oops. Well, I completely bungled that immediately. What I want to do is just outline the raised edges, but no, I'm going to have to go back in and recover that. And even the Escher ones aren't, like... They're not horny, right? Let's just say that. They're not thirsty. Not really. Or at least not overly so. Depends on the model. Some of them more than others. I go back in here and re-black this. Because that's just supposed to be in shadow, so I actually don't want that to be. Alright, where's my white? One more little thing on here. Make sure that's just really white, and then we'll paint the metallic around it. Well, actually, we could paint that one black, because her hair is going to be blonde, so it'll... Yeah. Okay. While all that's drying, I'm going to get my ochre out, because I guess I really thinned this down way too much. Because it was not covering solidly. And honestly, if I just wanted her to have, like, ginger hair, I could leave this here, but I kind of already was doing an auburn hair on another person. Then again, now I'm kind of talking myself into instead of doing blonde hair on her, I'll do blonde hair on someone else. I'm going to do it if I don't. How's the weather holding? It is warm. It's too warm. It's also very smoky here because of the wildfires coming in the north. You know, thoughts for all of our Canadian friends because they're not having a good time right now. Because a lot of the stuff's on fire. Strawberry blonde? Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that. But I also don't want to, like, be too ambitious and, like, overcomplicate something when I should just paint the darn thing, too, you know? Okay. Now, she's got the skull on hers, because she's very clearly a champion. What I might do here, again, kind of like her leg, what I really should do is differentiate some color by, painting the armor metallic and then painting the skull emblem as, like, a nice bronze. Yeah, the heat wave is why there's the wildfires. I thought the huge overcast this week was an upcoming thunderstorm. Lol, no, it is actually, yeah, I looked outside today and it was, like, really dark, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I just looked closer and it's like, who's burning things? It took me a while because the way my local county works is you're allowed to burn things on any day that that has an R in it. And today is Thursday, so I was like, oh, okay, so someone's just burning things. But then as I got out of my neighborhood and on the highway, it's like, why is everything still smoky? And then it kind of hit me like, oh. So yeah, thoughts out to if you have any friends in Canada. I mean, honestly, just thoughts out to everybody in Canada anyway, right? Because they're literally on fire. And I'm not close to the Canadian border. I won't dox myself overly, but as we've said, we're in the Midwest, not the upper Midwest. Okay. It's always amazing how adding those metallics really just goes bam. Yeah, purple burn. Yeah. Yeah, there's people here who just burn their trash because they don't want to pay for the trash service, which, like, that doesn't really work as much like it used to, because I know what's in trash. So, really, a lot of stuff you're not supposed to set on fire. Don't burn electronics and batteries and things, man. That's how you die. Alright, we're gonna take this again by getting this blacked out. You know, I'm really kind of leaning towards this ginger color and then a nice blue tie here. Like a nice deep, like oh no, it would just be the same blue as her shirt. Because it would be Orlocky. Yeah, okay. I like that. And then that kind of ginger hair color. Okay, so that means I'm going to save the blonde for another guy. I also now like... Ugh, plastic smoke is terrible. I like, because I ended up using the same hair color for these two. And so I have created my narrative in my head that these two are brother and sister. twins at one point, because they even kind of have similar hairstyles. So these were clearly twins. And she's just, and they've got like this more auburny color. And she's just got a much more ginger color hair. Have we come up with a name for her? No. That's always my last step. Like, everyone has to get fully painted before I name them. That being said, if you have ideas, I will take things in chat. For this gang, I'm not going to do that. Originally, I was like, oh, I could name them after Discord users, but I don't want to do that in case people die. Hey, with Necromunda. Also, you know, there's naming people after Discord users, and it's like, wow, you think I look like that, huh? Or you think that person's a good stand-in for me, huh? Wow, thanks, I guess. Oh yeah, you're my Goliath ganger, you know, the big, huge idiot muscle guy. Where was that spot that I accidentally? There it is. Look at that. There's some silver there. You have to take good with the bad. Yep. The Discord users guy. Well, I mean, if you die in Necromunda, you die in real life. So you know, if your named character dies in the campaign, we will be booting you out of the Discord and mailing you a bomb. For legal reasons, that's a joke, and also a joke. Because then we can also have Discord funerals. Maybe in the future. Maybe for a different one. For this one, I'm going to go full and actually name, like, I'm going to try and craft a story for me of these people that I like. Probably lots of metal puns. Because Orlock is the House of Iron. Last time I had Orlock, everyone... Your life, Spudgy. She could not roll a 3-up. Oh, no! Last time, all of my Orlock names, because I wasn't playing with any of the Orlock ladies, except for a Wrecker, whose name was just Wreck Her, because that's what she did, is she just wrecked people. Because I gave her a demolition mine, and she just flew over to people and dropped it on them, and they exploded. Wreckers are terrifying, by the way. And I'm kind of sad I can't start with that Wrecker again, because I modeled her with a plasma pistol, and I'm not going to have the money to start with that. So instead I've got this Wrecker, who has the really cool purple hair. Should be called Verdigris. Ooh, I'm going to write down Verdigris, since she has copper hair. I don't know if I'll call her that, but yeah, Verdigris. The only problem is Verde is green, so I feel like we need to have green. The copper would be ooh, I need an Air Nasir joke. Nasir can be her last name. There you go. So what would be a first name for an Orlock? Verda with an A, Verda. That's not a real name, but it could be Verda Nasir. So it's like Verdigris, and then Nasir is her last name because of the, you know, Air Nasir copper thing. As if Necromundigan gangers can read. This is fair. Van Sar can. Van Sar can read. Van Sar are allowed to read. Everyone else, no. Nope, I need to use a sharper brush for that. I was about to do something stupid. Okay. This is not my metallic water. Although I think I did put metal in it. Dang it. Okay, I gotta do the thing where I swap water real quick. Be right back. The last thing I need is her having metal flakes in her hair. Just discovered your channel? Love the energy. Thank you. Mini Croc 69. Nice. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, our energy is kind of what we have. Because. All right, let's get some. Okay, so we're gonna do her goggles in black. Just having her hairline does not go under that. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll get this black line here. There we go. Given it's a Sumerian name, Siduri. Ooh, yeah. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I could just look up. Yeah, other. Let me see, because Sumerian was. Oh, I forget where that is now. Is that where Iran is now? Because I could look up that kind of. Because I could look up like names from that area of the world. On the flip side, and in the very far, very far future, you got to imagine that people would just have really mixed names. It's like, yeah, some guy's last name is going to be can still be Johnson, but his first name could be, you could have. I'm trying to think of like a Japanese or like a Chinese name Wu. You could have Wu Johnson in the very far future, or I mean, you have people named that now, but you could definitely have that in the far future where the idea of countries or cultures has really kind of just evaporated in the face of. So I imagine you would have lots of like really mixed names, which would be really cool because then you can kind of do whatever you want. On the other hand, you would definitely still have people who are called Bob Johnson. My last Orlock gang, everyone was named after the joke names for David Ryder from the Mystery Science Theater episode of Space Mutiny. So it was Bob Johnson, Blast Hard Cheese, Slab Bulkhead, Big McLarchuge, Roll Fizzle Beef. I've been looking at picking a gang for Necromunda, playing an introduction game between Nomads or Caudor. Okay, so Nomads I think are harder. Caudor are more traditional. Nomads are kind of weird. They play with more weird. If you're brand new to Necromunda, now all of this, of course, is trumped by what models you would enjoy painting and playing the most, because rules are temporary, models are forever. But my advice, if you are looking for it, would be to go with Caudor. However, follow your heart. If you don't like the look of Caudor, don't go with that, because yeah, rules you can always, rules change. And with the new edition, I don't know if you're looking at getting it started with the new edition, which is upcoming. And if you aren't sure yet, I would maybe hold off on buying any books or anything like that, because the new edition might be very good, and it might have some very big rules changes for those gangs. On the other hand, it might not. Or if your group is just like, if you're playing with people who have all the books already, and you're just going to be playing the current edition for the future because you just don't want to swap, which is completely valid, then I would just, do what you want. I have some themes. All my Ratlings are named after animated mice and rats. All my Ogryn are named after cricketers, which makes sense. We had, the equivalent of that is we had my friend of the show, Travis, who has never been on the show, so you guys have never seen him, but he's one of our local players, and he's a very, very good player. So he did a challenge run where he was playing Slave Ogryn gang, and then only doing throwing weapons, so all like grenades. Which, if you remember, Slave Ogrins all have 5-up ballistic skills, so that's really tough. He still did really well in the campaign, because it turns out they are still terrifying. But he named them all after American football players. Because the joke was they're big, beefy guys throwing, grenades. All right. Yeah. You know what? I'm just going with this ginger hair. Okay, so to not make the title of the show liar, the answer is still yes. Your Orlock absolutely can be blonde, and we will paint one blonde. Might not be one of the ladies, because the last lady I have a more sallow skin tone. Not sallow's not the right word. I don't know what the right word is, how you would describe it. But I think she's going to have black hair. So maybe we'll paint one of the guys blonde. We got a guy with purple hair over here, so we can do whatever we want. And my thought for him was he's just like, a young punk wrecker who's got some purple hair. Big fairness, Big Jimis and Woodle work as ogre names. They do. I think his leader was Tom. Oh, it was a Tom Brady pun. I can't remember what it was. I don't play football. I don't know American football well either. I don't do sports much. Goliath Forge Boss. You ended that sentence with a preposition. Glard Giant. You know what a preposition is? You have a Goliath who still has a low intelligence, but he's just very, very well read. I'm trying to figure out what the heck is with the goggles here. Looks like the hair just is like wraps around them. One second. Also, just appreciate the idea of my sci-fi future missionary corps being from the incredibly futurist realm of Burnley. There's got to be a space Cornwall somewhere. I'm being tagged on like 3 different Discords for some reason. Okay, so Orlock champions and gangers. I'm trying to look up to make sure that. Okay, no, yeah, the other head thing is just not sculpted on this one, which is good. Goliath bully. I'll never have more than the surfacing of this liturgical. Goliath gang really into Scrabble. I like that idea. That's a good idea. Oh wait, okay, I should do the lens first because I gotta paint the. Although, I should really do that like last, but oh well. Did play an introduction game as Malstrain against Van Saar. One thing I like is how much character the models have and all the customization options. Yeah, I mean that's Necromunda. Yes, everything is weird and interesting. I've got some Van Saar around. I've got Malstrain unbuilt, but I need to build and paint for our Secundus campaign because we'll be playing that very shortly. All right, so we've got my Caribbean Ocean in here for her lens to be a lens. Well, so less customization with Malstrain depends on what Malstrain Minicroc is talking about playing. Like, was it a Malstrain infected gang or was it just the Malstrain gang? Because if it's a Malstrain infected gang, then you have all the customization in the world. If it was just a Malstrain gang, then yeah. But yeah, everything's got lots of options, and they've clarified they're not changing that with the new edition. That's not going anywhere, which is good. Got some orange there. Okay. Got to cover up that blue that I overspilled. And then his hair comes around and comes under. There we go. It's very strange. Is the main kit and Hive Scum. Okay, yeah, so that's the Malstrain kit, yeah. Yeah, that gang does not have as much customization. I mean, your Hive Scum does. But even then, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, so there we go. All right. Get more black on there where I spilled my metals. Looks like I just need to do the metals on her all around. Oh, wait, I still got to do the hairband and the wristband. And we're going to do just our good old wolf gray for that, which is the same as her blue. Try to minimize your number of colors, both for visual distraction purposes and for getting the gosh darn model painted. That's my problem. I was going to kit bash a Malstrain Gene Stealer cult with other gangs and add different mutations of the green stuff. You can definitely do that, and depending on how much into this hobby you already are, that might be a great idea. Because I don't know what your background is or how much you've already done kit bashing and stuff like that. If you've already done kit bashing all that stuff and this is not new to you, then yeah, I would say go for it. If you're like super new to minis games or something, I might want to hold off and like not don't have too much feature creep on your projects, scope creep, because that's my problem. I always want to like, oh, I'm going to kit bash an entire gang with this, 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 and this, and then I get one done and go, great, now I need to do 10 more, and I don't do 10 more. Okay. Ah, I need a smaller brush there. Yep. Well, first let's double check our hair. Is everything on our hair good? Yeah. Well, almost. Need to get these tips down here. Here we go. Orange hair. There's a black hair strand. I just realized I missed. I'm gonna go do more painting. I'll still be watching the Harmony type as well as the phone. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I mean, these are hobby hangout streams, so that is kind of the technically envisioned goal, although if you're not hobbying, there's nothing wrong with that either. That's why hanging out is very nebulous on purpose. To quote Pink Flamingos, do whatever you like. If you've never watched Pink Flamingos, don't. It's a weird movie. Yeah, gotta. Oops, sorry, I'm off camera. There we go. I need to. Okay. Thank goodness Army Painter paints cover well, or I'd have to do this like 4 times. Hey ho, what is the matter? Okay, there we go. Get that hair tie all the way around. I'm honestly kind of surprised she has hair this long. And the underhide. But she's a champion, so that means she can probably afford to have it. What's your favorite and least favorite gang? I think my favorite is Orlock. It's the one I've played the most. I kind of like generalist gangs, and they are a generalist gang. Not the best at anything, but very good at almost everything. Like they can, they're not the best melee gang, but they can melee. They're not the best shooting gang, but they can shoot. And they're very tough. They're not the toughest. My least favorite... That one's harder, because I don't really hate anybody. I guess probably Ogrins as a gang, because they are difficult to face. But playing them doesn't feel satisfying because of their very limited options, in my opinion, to me. So I think Slave Ogrins would be my least favorite. It almost feels like cheating, because they almost don't feel like a real gang. Discounting Slave Ogrins... Oops, yeah, I knew I was going to do that, but that's okay, we can redo that skin. Discounting Slave Ogrins is a very difficult choice, because I kind of like them all. The one I have never played is I've never played Delok. Their playstyle does not super appeal to me, and their weird models I love, but their base gangers I also don't super appeal to me, so I guess Delok would be my least favorite. But I also haven't played them yet. Maybe actually playing them would change my mind. Maybe getting access to all that stuff would go, oh, I do like these. Okay, so right now those bands look horrible because they have no delineation, no line of difference. We have to fix that, which we will that's what the wash will do. First, we need to fix the blue that I got on the skin. There we go. No, that paint's not good anymore. Let's get some weathered skin back. Oh, you know what? I think I was using the wrong paint there. Ooh. But yeah. I've also not played Khador, but I have played against Khador many times because, oh my gosh, Mitchell loves Khador. Khador is one of Mitchell's first gangs. And he loves them, and he's very good at them, so. Did I use the wrong paint again? No, weathered. It's weathered skin, right? Or is it tan flesh? Which one are you and which one are you? Oh, you're weathered skin. Dang it. Mixed up my people. That's okay. Someone's messaging me on my phone. I can't check it because I'm using it to stream. Or to keep an eye on the stream, I should say. Boop. Okay. All right. Anyway, back to fixing the skin. Nice thing about accidentally putting the wrong skin color on is it's really not a big deal because you just kind of blend it in, and then because that's how skin actually works, is like multiple skin tones. If I was good at painting skin, I would do a lot of blending, but I'm not, so I'm not going to. Again, just trying to get these guys finished. As you can tell, I am not a fast painter. Trying to get better at it, but it is a challenge. Okay, so we've got her hair there. I need to redo another layer of blue here. Blue, blue, blue. There we go. Everyone looks so bright and cheery right now because I haven't put the grimy wash on yet. Blue. There we go. Okay, get this blue under here. You know, the bolter I could almost leave as is, where it's like this black bolter but that doesn't match the rest of the style. Do you have a preference that Necromunda has? I prefer more Grimneck style, not the clean box art style. Yeah, I'm going for box art here, but like a box art color scheme on these Orlocks, because I just like the default Orlock color scheme a lot. It's like the only one I really love is their default scheme. My Vansar don't look like that. My Escher really don't look like that. But these guys, I love it. But yeah, I will end up something very different in my highlighting style. Heavy metal is very, very, very clean, very, very precise, which, it does make it pop for marketing purposes, which is what the purpose is at the end of the day, right? Okay, we're not going to try fixing that blue with a metal or with a black, because I'm just going to paint right over it anyway. So instead, we will okay, so do I have all the hair covered? Yes. Do I have her wristband covered? Yes. No, need a little more. Need after that first layer dried. Need the second layer. There we go. There we go. So I think we're ready to move on to metallics. So I have a question for you guys. What's your opinion on Gunn's color in Necromunda? Because there's there's many different schools of thought. So you can do painting them dirty metals, with the idea that everything in Necromunda is just like a stamped metal gun that hasn't even been painted or anodized, which is where you like cover up the metal so it doesn't rust. Or you can just paint them gunmetal black, which is what I tend to do. Looks the least interesting. Or you can do what I tried here, which is paint them with a bunch of different metal colors. I don't really like the way that one looks. But you could do it. Okay, so got the metals there, metals there. I need to color the rest of the metals on her. Oh, need to get that little skin break here. That skin color blob, I should say. That's not metals, that is actually her jacket, so let's get a black dot there. Add up. Okay. So, metals on the arm, done. Metals on the leg, need coat number 2. I'm trying to do the metals last and all at once, so I don't have to go back and redo them a bunch. I'm trying to get all my other ducks in a row first. Oh yeah, I probably should do the skin on her earsies. Characters have custom guns, so maybe someone paints a gun red and decals, maybe. Yeah. I don't really like the red gun things that 40k does sometimes. It only very rarely actually goes with them, in my opinion. There's an argument that lower oxygen levels at Underhive might make stuff rust less. Yeah. Gun is important enough. That is the thing, is like, you usually maintain your tools, right? Like, you don't... Things that are rusty are... Like, rusty guns are, like, very dangerous to the user. Okay. Now I need to get the headband of the gogglies. And what we should do is actually... Here we go. We'll paint with the side of the brush because this is a raised surface on the side of her head. So... Sorry, I had to hold my breath there. Oh. Looks like I got just a little on her hair, but that's okay. There we go. All right. Hi, hello, Gay Smith. Glad you could join us. We're painting hair. When I lied, apparently, in the title, I'm not painting blonde hair yet. It's also a status thing. You want to look like a professional scary gun, even if you don't actually have any bolts, because the other way to win if I just have the other guys run off. Yeah. I think there's lines about that with a heavy bolters. Like, well, they're not actually very good, but they're great at making other people run away. I don't know if you know, you guys be able to see this on camera because the gun's in the way, but I gotta get this real quick. Here we go. Whew. Okay. Then I gotta get the tops. I'm not even gonna bother with the bottoms because no one's gonna see that. But I do want to get the top of this headband. Okay. All right. And that is the other thing, yeah, showing off, especially for Orlock, where grandstanding is like literally a tactic card they have, right? Now I'm curious. I'm gonna check the web page I have up. What page color do they do their bolter? Oh, on the web page. Oh, what they did is they gave it hazard stripes. Dun dun dun. I don't think I want to do hazard. I do want to do hazard stripes. I want to do hazard stripes really badly, honestly. Okay, so what I'm gonna do to start. If I want to do hazard stripes, I should do it now. Ooh, that's hard because like they have hazard stripes right here, right where it's visible, and it looks really awesome. But that's kind of violating. All right, well let's not burn that bridge. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Where's my metal? Let's finish the rest of her. Do the gun last. Just imagine gangers running away from Caldor because of how unstable the guns are. Yeah, it's like he's gonna fire that blunder pole, and one or both of you is going to die. Do you like those odds, punk? Do you feel lucky? Do you believe in miracles? Because the Caldor does. And he'll blow himself up to prove it. So. There we go. Look at that belt buckle. It's a skeleton. Because no one in Necromunda is subtle, except the Deloc, who are so subtle it's no longer subtle. Oh, good. Ogre Hunters with Saberfang Crossbows? Eh. Alright, clip is... Okay, yeah, and they do rust all the metal, which I do like. I do like that rusty metal look. I mean, I'm sure the ogres are just a shoe-in for Ogre and Gang, right? Like, why would you use the Ogre and Gang when you could just use the ogres and they're basically probably as good? Okay, let's do the rest of the metals. So, right here. Now, normally I would do the... I kind of maybe back myself in the corner here, because I would normally do the crossguard of the knife as also being metal, but if the metal is right next to it is already metal, you don't want to do that. Pommel. Also metal. Pommel. It's not called a pommel, it's just called a pommel. There's her thumb. I guess I should get that thumb skin colored. If I can even get my brush in there. No, that brush is not small enough to fit that gap. To a smaller brush. To size 1. I have to redo the black on the jacket after that, but that's okay. Do you remember someone saying extra mutation kinds of made to be really stupid, so I thought they're conspiracy. So it's not that they're really stupid, it's that they're functionally like non-cognizant. Like they don't Escher men are basically born and they're like super withered and don't even develop like even an Ogren would make them look, they would make an Ogren look smart. Actually I don't think it's an intelligence thing, it's mostly just like a body thing. We're like, yeah, functionally Escher men do not exist. They are basically only kept alive long enough to like harvest their genetic code, which sounds like it'd be creepy or sexy, but it's not. It's just them being like pureed down into their genetic code, which is used for keeping the line alive or whatever. Like many things in Warhammer, it doesn't actually make sense if you think about it too hard. But great way to have an all-female gang. Oops, I'm off the screen again. How did you guys get into Munda? I remember you saying it wasn't that long ago. That's a great question. I got into it with, so my first entry into Necromunda was with the High Outcast book, because I looked at the Outcast models and just loved them as like this weird guys, these unthemed guys almost. And then it turns out they were a horrible gang to start with, but I had already played by that point and kind of gotten hooked. So I played Escher. So they also liked the way they looked. And then I've just been collecting all of them ever since. Do I have a brass or gold? I don't really want to do gold on her knife hilt, but I don't want to leave it black. Let's do, well, I could do another copper. I want a bronze is what I want. I don't really have one. Oh, yes I do. Weapon bronze. Oh, that was, wow. The pressure in my room is weird because of the heat, so. All right, I need a, oops, sorry, bump the mic. I need a smaller synthetic brush because I need to paint with, well, that's a sable, but it's a bad sable, so we can use that. It's not bad, it's just old. Just to convince everyone to play. No. Mitchell was already playing with an existing group, so he was been playing before I ever was. Kevin joined us. What happened is that I played my first couple games with the existing group at our local place and did not get along with them at all. Like, just did not like those people. So, but I really wanted to play Necromunda, so I found a couple other people who wanted to play Necromunda, but maybe hadn't before or didn't really like the existing group. But Mitchell was one of them, and we started playing, and then we just grew and grew and grew, and more people heard about it, and more people, we saw us playing on every Sunday when we used to play. So, yeah, and then kind of grew from there, and then we had, at our max, we were at 8 members. It's been a while since we played a full game with that many people, or a full campaign with that many people, but yeah. It was just word of mouth and friends of friends and stuff like that, Mostly Mitchell, because he knows everybody at that game shop. I do now, but I didn't at the time. So yeah, really Mitchell got everybody kind of together. I actually don't know about Kevin. I don't know if he had played Necromunda way before us and then just joined us, or if that was actually his first time playing. I actually never, or I think he told me at one point. I just forgot. Okay, I actually kind of like this weapon bronze on her Jagger. First time playing, I'm not a big fan of 40k for ages. Nigmar is really fun. Yep. Yeah, the weird actions you can take. I'm going to try playing some more 40k with this new edition, which I do every edition, mostly because this time the rules were very cheap. But yes, I do tend to prefer Age of Sigmar, or at least I did. The treadmill of all their edition stuff has kind of got to me, so I haven't kept up. Oops. Nope, not that one. This one. There we go. Gosh, I gotta label my water better. Okay, so now it's time to do all the metallics down here. And actually, what we're only going to do is really only going to catch the edges of these, because if the shadow stays black, that's fine for metals. You can't do a stroke, do a dot, or a series of dots. I have to. Do you have a favorite 40k and a Sigmar army? 40k, I am a guardsman through and through. Like my tanks, like my guys, simple as. For Age of Sigmar, Skaven. I am a Skaven player through and through. Mitchell and I are both very big Skaven fans. Although I used to be a Cities of Sigmar player, but I was a Cities of Sigmar player who liked all the soup of like the weird factions and stuff, and now that they've kind of gone into just being, ironically, they're kind of like guardsmen now, but for Age of Sigmar, and yet I don't really like them as much. Personally. They're not a bad faction or anything like that. I'm not going to complain about like Age of Sigmar is bad because it's, new or whatever, but they kind of lost me. Although a big part of it was that I just did not want to rebuy an entire army, because I had a full Cities of Sigmar army with lots of points, and nothing that I currently own is still playable except for, I think, the Herd Column. And just run down Cody. Hi, Cody! Took me an hour and 15 minutes to change the bleeping headlight for my car! Ooh, I forget what you drive, and you don't have to answer in chat if you don't want to, but was it just because some modern headlights are just in stupid places. Basically, being able to change your own headlights is something you should be able to do, and some manufacturers of cars are like, nah, you should have to pay someone $400 to do it nowadays. Grumble, grumble. I hate that. Yeah. I did play more Age of Sigmar since my wife got me a Cities of Sigmar Spearhead for my birthday, and I love the characters. Yeah, Cities of Sigmar is in a weird spot for me because I love half the stuff and just really don't care for half the stuff. However, I cannot deny that they have made it more of an Age of Sigmar army, which really it was needed. Like, they made the right choice by not just being the Empire again. As much as I loved that, and do love that, because I got into Warhammer through the Total War Warhammer games, which of course were set in the old world, and the Empire was my baby there. Again, random mooks going up. My sister's car, you had to take the wheel off. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, sometimes you have to take the wheel off to get to the stupid headlight. It's so dumb. Yeah. There is definitely a vein of hostile manufacturing in automotive. Always has been. It's not a new thing, but it's... You notice that in a lot of technology nowadays, which is like, oh, well, we don't want people to repair this because we don't make money off of that. So we're going to make it hard for you to repair this. I do love... the Cogfort is so silly, but I love it. Like, yeah. The Cogfort, I know people are kind of cold in the Cogfort in some ways, but I am on Team Cogfort. I don't want to buy one because I do not have the money for that, unfortunately. But it is... Plus, it's been in the lore for ages. Like they've been mentioning Cogforts since before Cities of Sigmar were a thing. So it's not like it came out of nowhere. Cogfort is a glorious, like, that's what I want to see more of in my fantasy. Just really silly, awesome models. It's an Outback. Okay, yeah, Subaru is like notorious for really bad design decisions as far as customer-facing repairs. I don't know about your model of Outback. For the ones I've always worked, anyone I've ever worked with, the getting to the drive belt is an absolute nightmare. So if your serpentine belt needs changing, you have to like almost undo the whole thing. I hate it, hate it, hate it. You have to go in from the wheel well, and there are no less than 3 of those cheap plastic push rivets that are all now broken. Then you have to reach in elbow deep. Yes, American prices are worse for Warhammer than the UK. It's pretty bad. So you can't see what you're doing. Yeah. Yeah, those plastic rivet things were on the taillights for my Nissan, and they're also all broken. Because screw it. I'm not paying somebody to do that. Okay. I'm being really particular here. But she's a champion, and she's a expensive Forge World model. Let's not put to find a point on it. So I kind of want to do right by her. So we're gonna, it's all these little details that really make a model pop. I don't think I would be doing these, like these belts, these buckles on her bag. Probably wouldn't do this on Ganger. In fact, I didn't do this on that Ganger. I'm not going to, because he's a Ganger. I don't care about him. But her, I do. So we're gonna get all these little metal bits. It used to be really good. It's my third Subaru, and they've always been a breeze till now. Yes, the more recent ones. Japanese car culture has always been a little bit more like that. That is true. But Subarus. Okay, I was gonna make this joke, but I have to really preface this. In the 90s, it was like this thing where Subaru released an ad that was basically like Subaru is the car of lesbian women. And you can look up that ad if you don't believe me. But anyway, yeah, Subarus used to be a little bit more acceptable. They've always been weird, but not bad that they are. And that's just all cars nowadays. Probably. Okay, this is the last year they made it like this. For instance, electronic engineer. Yeah. Just curious, how long do you have to wait for models to arrive? Because for me, it's a lot easier. Well, here's the thing. We all met because we've all worked for our local game store. Now, I have no idea, not being I never worked for that part of the local game store. I don't know how long it takes. Like, GW is kind of an arcane, nobody knows the process behind what they do and don't send and when they send it. Not even Cody, and that's like literally was his job, or is his job. Lesbian Forester Green, I had one of those. Hey, you know what? It was a cool ad, okay? That being said, we get all of our stuff from our local game store, and it's very, very well stocked. So for us, that being said, if you order something from Games Workshop for the game store, because you can do that, you can go to the game store and say, hey, we want to order something, and they'll put it on their next list. It can take anywhere from the next shipment to 6 months to a year. Games Workshop is arcane and unknowable in how they choose to send things. I legitimately love the way Subaru Outback looks, and I almost bought one instead of my current car, but I couldn't quite afford it. Plus, they do well in wintry conditions, which in the Midwest is a big issue because it's snow. And it's snow big. And because it's snow big all the time, they don't cancel things. You still got to go to where you got to go. But anyway, the United States does have a warehouse, a GW warehouse in Tennessee. So everything is shipped from there, and we're not very far from Tennessee. We're like a day or two of shipping from Tennessee. So actually, despite the fact that we're not in the UK, we still get UK stuff. We still have all the GW stuff, kind of as well as anybody else. It's not like Australia where they have, incredibly long shipping times. Although I think did they build an Australian warehouse now? I don't remember. We know we have a couple of Australian Discord users, but I don't think any of them ever make any of these because I always put them at times that are not suitable for Australians. Sorry, but unfortunately, suitable for Australians would be like 6 in the morning or something. Because they're basically a 13-hour difference. All these bright metals are really like grabbing attention right now, but they'll be faded in when when they get washed. It's a shame. Don't know if you've ever been to Warhammer World. I have never been. Unfortunately, I've never been to Europe. Really want to. It is on my list of places to go. There's so many places I want to visit in Europe, but UK and the Warhammer World is one of them. It's on my list of things to do someday. Unfortunately, I keep blowing all my money on plastic models instead of saving for a vacation that I probably should do instead. Yeah, GW were very cautious about expanding too big too early. 1 second, I'm gonna get a drink because it's 8 o'clock. Been streaming for an hour, so quick stretch break. I'm gonna stand up and stretch my legs. You should do the same if you've been sitting for an hour. Oh, ow. Do-do-do. If I wasn't listening. Okay, so. Okay. Back. If you ever come out, let us folks know. Oh yeah, well we'll do a miniatures rundown meetup. I think we have as many people in the UK as we do anywhere else. Actually, we checked our metrics once. It's like 45% UK and Europe. It's one of the reasons why I stream on the Sundays at times when I do, because it's a little more. Because I know it's very late for you American or UK folks right now. Actually, should surprise both you and Spudgy. What you drinking? Crystal Light water. You know the water, and you take the Crystal Light packets and you put it in there, so it's mango peach flavored. Not drinking soda, despite my internet username being soda, but really cut back on that. Okay, I am completely messing. I'm butchering this. Good heavens. Let's take that again, Josh. Like you have one job. Don't get the medals in the. Ooh, you're applying to get a passport tomorrow, Cody. Nice. Might not be too far in the future. He has one and can't sleep. I have not been sleeping for crap. I was still awake. I was trying to sleep, but I was still awake at 5 a.m. this morning. And I do not know why. I mean, I think of the heat. The heat does really bungle your brains. Oolong tea. Oof. It's a lot of fun. They have the first miniatures that they ever made in a museum. Oh yeah, I gotta get there. You find it, you get it for free with the assassin. I've heard about that. I imagine they move them around to make sure you can't just like find it and then go post it online. Okay. The hard part about painting all these darn spikes. Yeah, this is definitely a. So what I'm gonna do, instead of painting brass on him, I'm gonna wash the metals with rusts, and then I will repaint a bright silver on top of it so that the skulls will be unrusty. Oh, you submit PhD in a week or so. Well, good heavens, good luck. I'm sure you'll be fine, but I mean that's a life goal I can't even comprehend. Let us know how it goes so we can call you Dr. Spudgy, just because that's a really cool name. If you don't mind me asking, what is your PhD in, or going to be in, I should say? What field are you in, I should say? I think you did. You probably mentioned this at one point. Now I've forgotten. I don't want to say it wrong if I've forgotten. But yes, I'm sure the anxiety there is through the roof, because that is an incredible achievement. Wastewater. All right, yes. Poop scientist. Hey, you know what? Everyone makes fun of that until the toilets back up and there's no sewer, and everyone goes, "Oh, how did this happen?" It's like, well, nope. Those down there should be black, not metal. Dang it. I gotta redo them. Okay, it's fine. Dr. Spud. Well, good. You can come here and save us from the gross data center runner we'll have here soon. Yeah. Oops. Okay, there we go. It's hard to see on these 4-year-old models. Sometimes the lines of delineation in the sculpt are not there in the same way they are on sharper plastic models. I guess I should just that's a really fancy way of saying the the details are a little softer. Sustained systemic underinvestment. Yeah, geez. Wonder how that happens. Be careful, we'll veer into politics. Here we go. Man, she's got a lot of metal trim on her, huh? This is what it's like to paint Thousand Suns. And then I need to redo. I shouldn't have filled in this right here, so I'm gonna fill it in with black and then redo it. There we go. Okay. I need more metal paint. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Metal paint, metal paint, metal paint. There you are. Haha. Okay. Man, I was not intending this entire episode to be the metal trim on one model, but it'll be nice to have her be done, you know? Okay. I get, and this is why I'm doing the bolter last, because like getting to all this other stuff while her bolter's in the way is a giant pain. So I know that pain too. I like the look of 1,000 Suns with the trim hurts my eyes. Yeah. I got one unit of 1,000 Suns for Kill Team way back in the day, like original Kill Team, not original Kill Team. Sorry, I should say, Kill Team 2017, which was my entry into sci-fi Warhammer, and I hated painting them so much I sold them to Mitchell, I believe. Or either that, or I still have them, and then just they're not going to be painted ever because I just did not. Oh, hated it. Hated. Did not spark joy. Literally underground easy to do if you're limited budget and the choice is education. Spending money on sewers you can't see, you can understand. Yeah. That is the problem. Is it's a hidden problem that nobody, you know, that nobody understands is going to be a problem until your stuff starts overflowing, right? And yeah, budget's, only so much money to spend. Oops, I overthinned that metal paint. Dang it. Okay. That's okay. Man, this is a really good example of why you have to, like, rust this down. And then Mitchell sold to me. Okay, so I did sell them to Mitchell. Okay, good. The white primed ones, right? Because, yeah, he got out of his 1,000 Suns and you picked him up. Okay, it's all coming together. I didn't even do that right. This all needs to be black. So I need to outline that skull, basically. So is the skull separate from the... Sorry, I'm off camera again, but... I still have the Zangor Enlightened because nobody wants those. Because you have enough, and everyone else. Been looking at gangs, decided on Cotter, and I love the Prophet. He's a hired gun, but looks so Cotter. So the Prophet is a weird hired gun, even for a hired gun. I mean, if you love the model, go ahead, and probably a little cheaper for you in the UK. That I don't need to tell you about that. But his rules are very strange, and the rules process for getting him are very strange. You might want to check with what campaign you're playing. Just make sure that you don't buy a model that you really want to use and then can't use, Because he's technically only in, like, a couple campaigns or whatever, and he has, like, no offensive ability. He can't shoot. You have 0 Enlightened? Did you just not want the Enlightened I had? Or maybe... I didn't... Or did I sell them? I thought... No, I think pretty sure I still have them. I'll have to check later. If you want some Enlightened, let me know. Or was it... I think maybe it was just that they were just really bad. Like, just nobody wanted them. Again, I got them for... I got those for Warcry. Because they were very fun in Warcry, and then everyone stopped playing Warcry. Okay, there we go. That's how it's supposed to look. We'll use him as someone else, I guess. Yeah, you could just use him as someone else. He is very noticeable. The right price, I do want some. I'll let you know if I can find them later. I mean, I know you just bought a bunch of orc stuff from me, so... but I'd be probably, at this point, they've been sitting and unused, so I'd be willing to let them go even cheaper than normal, because, like, I'm just not playing with them, and I do not want to paint them, because, again, painting Tzeentch did not spark joy. It's actually not much worse than it is here, Mini Crocs. Just like, 30 to 40 is about what it costs here. And again, because there is a warehouse locally, it does not like it takes ages to get here anymore. I'm having trouble determining what is supposed to be the metal and what is supposed to be the leather. Because it's all kind of soft and squishy on the detail over here. But I think I've got it mostly. You got the skull, and you got the black leather beneath it, outlining the skull. Okay. So let's do... I need more black. Where'd black go? There we go. Yeah. Drop of that on my wet palette. There we go. I do like these P3 paints. Some of them. I like these. This black and the steel I'm using, I like quite a lot. Prices are stupid. Pile Shinky's rousing. I mean, yeah, we're all guilty of that. Get that black up there, because that's supposed to be her collar, not part of the spike. There we go. And then same thing over here. Where did that... I saw you somewhere. There you are. Just really make sure that's... Ah, that was it. It was the edges here. That was it. Okay, that really helps with the definition there. Okay, and then I need to get the studs, or not the studs, they're side studs? I don't know what you call them. The bands of metal on the actual... Okay, make sure I'm... Ah! Bugger! I borked it! Okay, rather than wet that down and let it spread around, we're just going to let that dry and then re-black it. Okay. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Look at that. Ha 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 ha. Got it. Okay. Ignore the previous one. You didn't see that. You saw nothing. You saw nothing. Oh god, I gotta get in here and do that. Fudge. How am I gonna do that? Okay. I know how I'm gonna do that. This might be off camera, but I'm gonna try. And... you know what? Ah! Got it. Okay. Yeah. And we're just gonna let the one that's under the hair be in shadow. Because I'm not... Alright, let's... reset this one with our black. Wow, I really bungled that one. Remember, kids, use the side of your brush, not the tip, when doing these things. Save yourself a lot of trouble, like I just did. Just while I'm here, is there any other... I'm waiting for that to dry, I should say. Is there any other metals that I need to get on her? Besides the gun. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this little metal thing on their jacket. Which doesn't make any dang sense, but, you know. That is accurate to biker culture, just wearing a bunch of metal things that don't make much dang sense. Any others? I don't think so. Okay. There we go. That looks like it's supposed to look. Yeah, she's gonna need this wash badly, or she's gonna look like a metal clown fiesta. Okay. Let's do a quick black check on the collar, because that's really important. So I'll get that hair up here. Also, for the gangs, I know you can get upgrades. Sprues, are they worth it? Depends entirely on the upgrade sprue and the gang, and if you actually want what's on them. So, what I would do with those, first off, if you can wait, I would wait, because they have announced that every single gang, including Kodor, is getting a box that has the base gang box, the secondary gang box, and an upgrade sprue. All bundled in, and usually that means it's a good deal. You can go check our video on it if you want. We did one that was on the reaction stream. Generally, they are worth it just because they give you more options, but if you're not in a hurry to buy these things now, if you can wait a few months and they do those gangs, you're probably going to save some money. Sorry, if they do those boxes, you're probably just going to save some money in the long run. So, if you want to wait. Otherwise, yes, they are almost always worth it. I don't think any of them are bad. But you can look on the website and they'll actually list what's in the box. You can kind of go, oh, okay, I want one of those, or oh, I don't want one of those, you know. All right, let's do one quick circle check of her. I think that's everything. I think the only thing left is the gun. All right, let's black it out, because what we're going to do with the gun is we're going to paint it. I'm always hesitant for this. I kind of really want to do hazard stripes on this, guys. I know it's silly and dumb and it will take me time, but, like, I have... Well, actually, hold on. Yeah, like separate characters that are Forge World, that's a, you know, those aren't going to go into getting cheaper. Sorry, I was looking if I had any of the tape that's really, really, really skinny. I don't think I do anymore. And I don't want to freehand the hazard stripes, so I think we're just going to paint the gun bright yellow. No, it's going to be a... Well, normally I was going to say we'll make this gun metal, but she's already covered with so much metal that I'm actually just going to make the gun metal black. So let's take a black. What kind of black do I want to use? Maybe dark olive? No. Actually, hold on. Take a look at this real quick. This might be actually a really good black for this. On the flip side, having two gang boxes isn't always a bad idea. So you could just buy, like, the basic Kodor gang to start with. Don't buy any upgrades or anything like that. Build and paint those, and as long as you have fun with it, then when that other box comes out, you use that to, like, complete your gang. Because I don't think there's any gangs I own that I don't have two gang boxes of. Just for the variety. That's, however, how I like to play. It's also why I have, like, 40 Orlocks to paint. But, you know, it doesn't even have how you live your life. I was gonna say, do I want to do this, like, gray heavy bolter? Is it tied to her jacket? I think it is. Which does make sense. Is that too many colors? Yeah, Cotter especially does need a lot of guys. That's true. Like if there was anyone where you almost mandatorily needed 2 gang boxes, Cotter might be it. One second, I'm gonna take a look at the screen real quick. Ooh. Okay, so 2 things. Number 1, I've decided that this knee pad is going to be black to break up some of that metallic outline. Oh yeah, that helps a lot actually. Yeah, helps break up the metallics a lot. I do like the look of Clothes of the Redeemer. He is really cool. Clovis the Redeemer. Yeah, I mean, you can just use the model as long as everyone's on the same page. Like, oh, hey, this isn't actually Clovis. This is my gang leader. I'm using him as a. I do that with the bounty hunters. Like, they all technically have names, but I just use them. I just use them in Hive Scum outcasts as like Hive Scum. It's like, yeah, technically they're bounty hunters that are named Dramatis Personae, but you know, whatever. Like, I just used the deserter model as a an outcast with a shotgun. Hmm. That problem with this metal, the cold steel I have from P3 is it might be too bright of a metal for what I want on the gun. I was kind of picturing more of a darker gun metal, so I might have to pick a different one. Being said, as always, the wash will deaden it, right? Like, I don't know if I like that gray or not on that gun. Let's let me see, where did I put my gunmetal from AK Interactive? Shake this up to heck and back. It's almost more of a blue, almost a bluey metal. Not metal bluey. Who is still going to get painted, don't worry. Bluey will be painted. The problem is her metal arm is going to be holding a metal handle. I'm using an orc beast sponsored with chaos spells because I didn't have the model. Yeah. But they don't know what an orc is, so they just think he's just that's just what a chaos spawn is, but it's actually just an orc. But you know, basically the same thing. Can't be knocked down, can't be stopped. Just run forward screaming and punches things. How do they do this on here? Because the problem is the way they did it is just a sea of metal on metal, which I don't really like. I want to break up your textures, in my opinion. So I'm going to paint this darker metal. Exactly, he was very chaotic. Again, I think I over-thinned this metal. I mean, I know I was really trying to make sure I thinned my paints more because I was really getting lazy for a long time about that, and it was showing in my work. So I think now sometimes, though, I am overdoing it. However, this is a nice contrasting metal to the metal on her, which is all a little more bright and shiny, and on the gun, it's more gunmetal. Now, all of it will get deadened down by the wash I use, which for on her will be mostly like a brown Agrax to get like a rusty wash, and on the gun will probably be just Nuln, because I figured that Orlock especially would keep their guns very well oiled. I don't think you would see a lot of rusty Orlock guns, not on champions. Gangers, yeah, gangers are gangers. They get what they get and don't throw a fit, right? Like a ganger asking for a non-rusty gun, they get shot with a non-rusty gun, you know? No, that doesn't go that way. That goes there. This, however, gets metalled. However, I'm going to paint the gun black. The drab here is not doing it for me. It's definitely going to need the coat. You want a clean gun, then go clean it. Yeah, pretty much. Get a bottle of lime away and go, told to go fix that problem yourself or shut up. And the flip side would be Cotter, where I think even the champions would probably have rusty guns. Because all of their stuff is trash-based. So we're going to paint this gun casing an actual gun black. Probably anodized future aluminum or whatever. There we go. Oops. Yeah. Yeah, that does just look better. It's a nice contrast between the gun and the metal on it. The more rust, the better. Adds extra damage. Take toxic damage from all the rust on the gun and the bullet. This bullet has a holy aura! No, that's just typhus. That's lockjaw, sir. Like I said, holy aura. Okay, need to wait for that to dry before doing anything else stupid. Now that that's dry, I can go in there and do the 3 vertical lines on her knee. The bee's knees. Ha 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 ha. You don't need a rust-free gun if you trust in the Emperor. Did I just mess it up in the way I think I did? Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. Okay, well. The Emperor protects, not the Emperor derusts. That's how the Gene Stealer cults get people. They go for the Emperor derusts, and they just get all kinds of people signing up left, right, and center. All right, so that black on the gun needs to dry because I need to do a second coat on that. What else? Anything else I need to do on you? There is some fun stuff we could do that they did on theirs. Which is they did a wire in red. It's kind of like a bright red poppy color. I actually kind of like that idea, so I'm going to steal it. Take this red oxide. Every time my gun doesn't blow up, my face means the Emperor's guiding me. I mean, yeah, pretty much. Okay, got a really tiny amount of red in my palette. I'll wait for everything else to dry. What we're going to do is we're going to take some of this, water it down just a little bit to make sure it gets off my brush. Then we're going to get some of these. So there's this cord down here. Right here. That I want to get in red. There we go. So now it looks like there's a wire around her foot. WD-40K. Do you know how many people whenever I play Darktide, do you know how many people play Skitaria that are named WD-40K? It's like a fifth of all Skitaria, I swear. And like, look, my Skitaria name is in Leet Speak, so I'm not gonna like hold a really high horse, but there we go. Now we've got some pop down there because you've got two wires. That'll blend more when we well, it needs another coat, and then when we wash it, it'll blend in. So let's do another coat of black on the gun. So then we can do another coat of the metallics on the gun. Should get nice all in there. Say what you will about nuclear weapons, but at least we got WD-40. Oh yeah, I'm sure WD-40 is like one of the holy relics of the Adeptus Mechanicus. Like the ability to produce WD-40 is like it's a whole process, and it's just a WD-40 factory on Mars somewhere. But like it is the holiest of shrines. What was I doing? Oh yeah, I was gonna. Okay, black, and then I need to not use my sable brush for this. I need to use my non-sable brush. I might go later today if people are game or willing, just because it's if the weather holds, I can do maybe another hour or so, but no guarantees. And of course, nobody ever needs to feel obligated to stay if you've got other things to do. Just you being here at all in the first place is making me very delighted, so thank you. Okay, got some black in there. This giant metal magazine. No one says 6-up ammo check. Where else are you going to carry one of these? Good lord. Oops, that's the wrong silver. Dang it, dang it, dang it. I was like, wow, this is so bright all of a sudden. Because I was using the wrong one. Whatever. Doesn't actually matter. No, that needs to be... Wait. Well, it does need to be silver. Okay. That needs to get all the way up in there to make it believable. There we go. And this needs to be silver too, or steel rather. And there's that black there. And then we need to do another layer of silver over all this where I painted the black just to make sure that the lines are clear. You do not want to discover this after you put a wash on. Here we go. Oops. Yeah. Gotta fix that after this real quick. Okay. She good? Is he trying to strip paint from flesh eaters? It's taking so long. It's been a while since I've stripped paint from anything. Probably playing gunmetal over black, because sometimes you have problems seeing. It's the holy oil, it's still the same with cans. Alright, let's fix my black lining. There we go. Then I need to... There we go. Get that under there so it's all clean and shiny where it wants to be. All right, let's take a quick stock of what we got here. Do another line of red on the wire. There we go. Just a nice little pop color. I don't have the patience unless it's really bad as prime over. Well, if you have an ultrasonic cleaner, it's nice. I do find some stuff from Green Stuff World that doesn't harm plastic resin. Yes, they have their stripper stuff. There's a few stuff. Anything the Green Stuff World makes is they took from somewhere else and just jacked the price up. So you can always find the generic version. You probably should. However, if Green Stuff World is what you can get, that's what you can get. You know. Can do another. This could be a little stronger. There we go. Okay. Let's do a quick check. Oh, that was one thing I was going to do. I was going to paint the extraction cover with a metal strip as well. Just a little pop there. You pretty much have paintings, so you still had a lot of time, but now not so much when I get card. I'm going to really try hard to make them look like Concustoids and Bristonia. Ooh, nice. Yeah, and it's kind of hard because it's like, on the one hand, you just kind of got to get things done, but if you have a standard you want to hit and you're having trouble hitting that standard, that can be really frustrating. Okay, I need to let that dry before I try and put a black line on it, because otherwise I'm just smearing around metal paint. Okay. Is there anything on you I need to hit that I didn't hit already? I don't think so. I think you're ready for a few washes. Of course, we need to really make sure things dry before we put the wash on her. So we're going to let you do that. While we're doing that, let's go over to another gal. Or, actually, hey, let's take a look at our guy who we kit bashed. By kit bashed, I mean we took his head off and put a better head on. Yeah, there we go. Let's paint him with his, with his brush-on primer. Yeah. And I'm not going to go reprime this entire guy. we'll just put black primer. The Monument, the Pro Acryl self-leveling primer, or the brush-on primer, is really nice. It self-levels very nicely. It's a great toothy surface. It's kind of destroyed all my complaints about brush-on primers. So you can get this stuff. You need a brush-on primer. Not sponsored, hashtag, but I really like this. Anything pink? Grimdark helps. I have the John Blanche Masterclass sets, and they help a lot. Yeah, you want to paint Blanchitsu. And those sets are also just really great. They're just full of really good stuff, honestly. Okay, anyway, what else we were doing? Oh, yes, we were taking this other Orlock gal, whom had been, actually, you know what I should do? Before I move any further, I should rebase some of these people who are on bases that are not what I want, so. Keep my fingertips over here. There we go. And then just... Nope, that's a bad way to get your fingers cut. There we go. Okay, we'll go from this direction. Okay. Because I want all my people to be on hashtag Necromunda bases. As good as bad as they are, these babies. So, do that before we go any further. Now, if I was smart, or if I wanted to, I should say, I could paint the bases separately, but I never do. I just... Necromunda bases, there we are. Well, now I should take a good pick of them. There are lots. Well, hold on. If they're already primed, I should pick ones that are already primed. Boop. Boop. Here we go. Okay. You're already done. You... Hope I didn't... Ah, there we go. This is why I only superglue people to bases. Just in case I ever need to rebase them. Because crap happens, right? So... Where'd my file go? There we are. I've got it on file. Okay. Ugh, the heat is rising in here. I think I lied about saying anything about going further tonight. Sorry. But I'm sweating. It's almost 9 o'clock. Okay. Alright, let's get your feet all sanded down so that you'll stick to your new base. I'll go ahead and do that with you. There we go. Okay, let's get the other one. Of course, whenever doing this, it's very important to keep your fingers fully out of the path of any possible knife slippage. And remember, a sharp knife is safer than a dull one. Nothing is more dangerous to cutting you than a dull knife. Or scissors, or dull blade, I should say. Of course, I use super glue on this one because it's a Forge World resin, so, you know. Alright. What was the last thing I was going to do with her? It was... Oh, yeah, I needed to... Just while we're here. There we go. get this done now before I put my greasy hands all over it. Probably should have varnished it and then done this, but oh well. We'll do it now and then not worry about it. Where'd my glue go? There we go. Glue. Glue. Okay, which one do I want? This one matches your stance. Oh my god, glue. There we go. Oop. Yeah, there we go. So you're on, you've got yours. Ooh, that one's got a bad magnet. I'm gonna have to redo that magnet. That's okay. It's not hard to do. Oh, wait, real quick. The scrapings of the last base off the bottom. Okay. Stuck my napkin to my... And then you get a boring base because you're just a ganger. Nope, that's not going to be stable. I need to pick a different base. Because yeah, I need some more. He's only got 1 foot, so I need a base that's really got a lot of surface area for him to play on. Well, apparently I don't have one. What the heck? There we go. Much better. There we go. Now he's running. I'm gonna put you back a little bit. Oops. Took some of the paint off with it, which I knew would happen, but that's okay. We can. Ah, messed it up. So always the problem with these running guys is they're never very stable, right? Oh, nope, we're gonna have to wait for this guy to dry and try again. That's fine. Okay, we'll do you later. After everything's dried. Pick a base for you and... Anyway, where are we? Oh, yes. You. I think you are all ready for your washes. So let's do as we often do at these streams and end with a wash party. So, I'm going to have a few different washes on her. I'm going to go start from the outside in. So we're going to start with some good old classic Nuln Oil. Where'd my washes go? There you are. Shade Nuln Oil. Shade Reichland. Shade X. Okay. I am by no means married to Games Workshop washes, but I do like their flesh shade, and I do like Nuln Oil for this. So we're going to start with good old-fashioned Reichland. Buzz the heck out of this. Come on. Come on. Get the skin done. I got the file I wanted for a new pot holder, but I need to print it. And for that, I need to be way less humid, otherwise it'll just ruin the print in here. So, all right, so we're not doing an all-over wash for her, because I know I do love my Sonic Tonic, as you may know, which is an omni wash, a wash you use to cover all of it in one. But I find that doesn't work well when they've got a black as a main feature, and the black here is definitely a main feature because it's their jacket, right? So we're not going to use the all-over wash. We're going to use targeted washes, flesh wash here on the, flesh. And then let's get up in there. Now, she has a scar on her face, which I actually don't know how to paint. So I might end up redoing her face, which if I need to, that's fine. It's not hard. Because I do not actually know how to paint like a burn, because she's got like a burn. It's clearly whatever took her arm off. Okay. All right, flesh done. Yeah. That's Agrax. Where'd I just had my null on. There it is. Same thing, gonna buzz the heck out of this. Okay. There we go. What is going on here? Kevin is sending me horrors that I'll have to deal with later. All right, and then we're just going to do a null on her shirt. Well, basically all the blues. Well, actually, everything that isn't the metals will get the black wash. Now the only problem thing I don't want to black wash in black is the cloth, which I think I can't remember what I used to wash last time. What did I wash with you, Mr. Shotgun Man? That was I used Agrax on that, which I wasn't really happy with. I need to use a really watered down version of Nuln on that. I don't want to just use the, because it'll just dye it black. Washing white, you gotta always be very careful. Just realized I never painted the back of our washcloth here. Whoops. We can fix that real quick. Or rather, we'll fix that when we go to... Yeah, we're gonna have to do these washes in stages, because we're gonna do the black, or the browns and everything else is gonna be in Nuln Oil, and then a rusty wash on top of that for the metals. But all the leather will get a quick douse of Nuln. I actually do want to put Nuln on the metals too. Oh, dang it, there's a spot I missed. well, crap. Hold on. Yeah, let's fix it real quick. Yeah. There we go. That'll dry, and then I'll rewash it. Okay. Oh, forgot to do her bandana. Of course, it's a horribly dark and everything, but that's where we'll come in with a highlight afterwards. And you can, I could wash her jacket, but it doesn't do anything because it's black. So, not really going to bother. If it gets on there, great. If it doesn't, whatever. It's more about making sure that it's got a solid line between the jacket and the other parts. So let's do the metals. There we go. That really does make the leg there work. Same thing with the arm here. Once you get the Nuln Oil in that wash, that's just... There's a larger scale, or if I was doing this more for like competition purposes, I would probably consider using an oil wash on all this because it's actually really handy. Or really, really looks good. But again, I just want to get this done. 4 hours on her is not bad for tabletop ready. Because, she'll be ready with a quick few dry brushes and highlights after this. We'll get her on the table and done and ready to rock. This knocks the shine out of all that metal. All right. Okay, so I still need to do her cloth, which I need to paint for the back of real quick here. It's kind of quick and dirty. Because, again, people are probably not going to look back here, but no. Just so we can say we did. And then I need to really get a really thinned down black wash for that. I don't want to... Full strength Nuln Oil will destroy any white cloth we have there. And then one big broad brush wash for the gun. Just really make those metallics look nice and oily and give them some depth. All of this, of course, will only really work once we actually start highlighting, because otherwise it just kind of looks like dark and dingy. Oops. Be careful, I gotta remember when I'm doing these targeted washes not to slap my brush around like I just did, because I just got it all over the cloth there. So, need to be a little more careful, Josh. Hey, live and learn. And we caught it in time. Clean here, probably, in the grimdark future. Alright, but hey, that's already looking like a great model. Let's do one last thing. I'm going to find my medium real quick. We're going to make a very, 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 very thin Nuln Oil wash to do the cloth with. Where did I put my medium? My Lamy medium. You know what? We're going to use this stuff. I got this. Procryl. Get on the camera. Thank you. Procryl Glaze and Wash Medium. Which I've never even... Have I even opened this? Nope. That's fine. I'm done here. Posting progress. Yeah, we're about ready to be done. But thank you for posting your progress. I appreciate it. Because that's cool to know that people are panning along. I will take some pictures when this is dry and post it. I'm always really bad at that. We're going to do one last thing before I call it, so this might go a little long. Bonus time for y'all. But sometimes when you're on a roll, you don't want to quit. All right, let's open up our glaze and wash medium. This has been sitting unused in my cabinet for Lord knows how long. But probably not going to need to buy any again. I've got Lamy medium somewhere, but... Now, the nice thing is if this bungles up and just, isn't what we want, which I'm not going to use this, because that's like, why is that so thick? Is that supposed to be that thick? You know what? I'm going to play with that on my own time later. I'm not going to chance it. I'm going to actually just use my Lamy medium or something else equivalent. Yeah, better not risk it, right? Okay, let's find a clean well to put this in. Or a mostly clean well. I need to clean out my palette here. And then we're actually going to put a lot of it in here. I'm actually going to only put like a little bit of Nuln into mini drops of medium, because I actually just want this to be really thin black wash. I don't want this to be very... Like, I only want to like shade as little as possible. So let's test it on our finger here. Like, it's barely showing up. Let's try it. Nope, a little more. We can cheat a little by... There we go. By mixing it on site. See? Now, we shaded our cloth. So yeah, never forget, and I've harped on this many times, and I will harp on it more in the future, that you can thin washes just like you thin paints. And you probably should be doing that more than you are. Unless you already know what the heck you're doing, and you're like, yeah, Josh, I know that already. What are you talking about? In which case, ignore me. All right, well, we're going to call it there at 9:03. I'm very happy with my progress today. Thank you all for joining me. You make this fun and tolerable in this heat. I'm going to go lie in front of my fan for a little bit. Hope you have a good week, whatever you're doing. I'll see you on Sunday, some of you, hopefully, in a different time slot. Stay tuned. We just filmed some Necromunda stuff, so it should be coming out soon. I do not know when. It probably won't be this week. In fact, it almost certainly will not be this week, but next week, hopefully some Necromunda stuff about the new edition. And I hope to see you there in the future. So have a good night, everybody. Stay safe, stay cool, stay out of the fire, and I will see you around. There we go. That's a nice ending shot.